This video is brought to you by Squarespace. This is the Nokia T21, so let's unbox it and talk about everything that you can expect from Nokia's latest tablet. The box itself is nothing special, as it looks like a typical Nokia box, and you have pictures of the product on the front with all the key highlights and specs on the back. Open the box and you're immediately faced by the T21 tablet. All the safety booklets, a USB-A to USB-C charging cable, and the SIM slot tool. There is no charging brick with the EU unit, but check your local Nokia website to find out if you're gonna get one or not. Now starting with the hardware. On the front there is a 10.36-inch IPS LCD display with a 2000 by 1200 pixels resolution. Though it's referred to as a 2K display, it's actually just a 1080p panel with a couple of extra pixels on every side. There's also an 8-megapixel fixed focus camera on the front for video calls. The tablet comes with dual speakers, one on every side, and they're set to produce up to 96 decibels of loudness. On the right there's the USB-C port and a headphone jack tucked at the very corner. And on the left there's the power button, which also acts as the Google Assistant button, but luckily you can disable that and just use it as a good old power button. On the top there are the volume rocker keys, 2 microphone holes, as well as the micro SD card / SIM card slots located there. And yes, you can get this tablet either as a Wi-Fi only model or a model that supports 4G. And finally on the back there's an 8-megapixel camera which comes with autofocus and an LED flash. The body of the T21 is made out of aluminum and comes in this charcoal grey color, which replaces last year's blue. It has a slightly more squarish form factor compared to last year's T20. The antennas on the back have been redesigned to improve signal reception, and you can see a two-tone finish on the back because of that, the difference between the plastic and the aluminum. And the camera bump gets a redesign, so it includes this step design that's also prominent on the rest of the new lineup. And I still remain not too fond of this slight change. However, the device does feel sturdy in the hand and gives off this quality vibe, mainly thanks to the use of aluminum. In terms of durability, Nokia says they've used toughened glass on the front, and the device also comes with an IP52 splash and dust resistance rating. You can't fully submerge this underwater, but it should handle a splash of water or two without any issues. The only thing that gives away that this is a budget-friendly tablet are the bezels on the front. Otherwise, the rest of the device actually looks more expensive than it actually is. Would love to hear what you guys think about this charcoal grey color compared to last year's blue. I think I like last year's blue a bit better, though this looks more mature. Before we talk about the software, here's a word from today's video sponsor. Let's face it, we all thought at least once about starting our own website online. Whether it's to showcase our passions to the world or to build an online business. And Squarespace makes this very simple. With Squarespace, you can build your own website with ease thanks to their excellent custom templates. It's taken me less than an hour to build a site from scratch into something that I'm fairly proud of. I also love how easy it is to build an online store, whether you're planning on selling a physical or a digital good or creating something unique for your community. And once you're ready to go live, Squarespace also provides the perfect analytic tools in order to understand exactly who your target audience is. Anyway, I'm barely scratching the surface here. I would highly recommend going to squarespace.com to start your free trial today. See if you like it, and I'm sure you will, and you can also go to squarespace.com/Mr. Nokia to get 10% off your first purchase. Thank you Squarespace for sponsoring this video. Now in terms of software, the T21 comes with stock Android 12, like really stock. Nokia is promising 2 years of OS updates, so this should technically go all the way up to Android 14, as well as 3 years of security updates. What I mean by stock is that it's a pretty lightweight operating system and heavily relies on Google services for all the basics. You won't find any duplicate apps on this, like 2 web browsers and so on. Nokia does add a couple of pre-installed apps on this, but they can all be uninstalled if you don't need them. On the left of the home screen is the Entertainment Center, which showcases some of the videos that you'd want to watch from the most popular streaming services, as well as a different collection of games and other stuff that you can install on this. And there's also Google Kids Space, which creates a safe environment for your children to use the tablet without having any issues. Now in terms of performance, the T21 comes powered by the Unisoc T612 CPU, which is an octa-core CPU clocked at 1.8 GHz. It is a budget-friendly processor that utilizes 2 A75 cores, which are performance cores, and 6 A55 cores, which are power efficiency cores. And it's built on the 12nm process. And while performance isn't like lightning quick and the operation always buttery smooth, it's more than adequate for your day-to-day tasks. It can even handle a bit of multitasking and casual gaming as long as you have your expectations in check. Now, a big reason you might want to pick this up either for yourself or for your kids is for multimedia consumption. And the screen's sharpness and pixel density is great for watching content at arm's length. It's a good quality LCD panel, though not as vibrant as you'd find with an OLED display. And it's also quite easy on the eyes, so shouldn't strain your eyes after prolonged periods of usage. My only real gripe with it is that it only gets up to about 360 nits of maximum brightness, meaning that if you plan on using this outdoors under direct sunlight, you will have a hard time seeing the content on it. Even indoors, I found myself adjusting the brightness closer to the 70% level or above. On the other hand, I really like the 5:3 aspect ratio that this comes in. It works nicely for both using this in landscape or portrait mode, depending on your watching content or web browsing. And the T21 also supports Widevine L1, meaning that you can watch Netflix content or streaming service content in HD quality, something that was missing from last year's T20 for some reason. I briefly compared the loudspeakers of this against last year's T20, and I wouldn't say that they sound much louder, if at all. It does have something called Auto Playback, which is supposed to improve the spatial audio from both speakers, and it does sound pretty good, to be fair, but I would have honestly liked the speakers to be a bit louder. My favorite use case for multimedia consumption is connecting it wirelessly to my Xbox and playing my Xbox games on this, which is still pretty awesome. Now, in terms of productivity, there are a couple of things that have been added to the T21 that weren't found on last year's T20, which do help improve the productivity aspect of this. As an example, if you pick up the LTE version, which I have over here, you can actually make phone calls on this now using the cellular network. It also adds stylus support, so you can now use any active stylus on this and the display will recognize it. So you can now use this for writing notes or drawing if you want. Though I do have to warn you that the latency of writing isn't great and there's no palm rejection on this as far as I can tell. Another cool feature it has is second screen support, so you can connect it to a Windows PC and use this as an additional screen if you need the extra screen real estate. Overall, the T21 is definitely a better productivity tool compared to the T20, though not all the features are as polished as I would have liked. For example, the new camera plate actually makes the tablet wobble on a flat surface if you don't have the additional case for it, which is an oversight in my opinion. In terms of cameras, the 8-megapixel front-facing camera works okay for video calls. It does have a wider field of view compared to last year's T20, though in my opinion the quality of the camera itself is a step below. The rear camera does do a decent job if you plan on capturing documents with this or using apps such as Genius Scan. But this is a tablet camera at the end of the day, so if you plan on using this to take pictures, just pull out your phone instead. And one omission on this is that it doesn't have a magnetometer, so you can't use any compass apps. You can still use this for driving navigation, as Google Maps will work perfectly fine on this, but if you plan on walking and using this as your navigation tool, it just won't be as accurate. Now, in terms of battery life, the T21 comes with a fairly large 8200 mAh battery, which Nokia says can get up to 3 days of usage on a single charge. Realistically though, you'll be able to get between 10 and 11 hours of screen on time if you're mainly using this using Wi-Fi. Assuming you plan on using this for between 4 and 5 hours a day, that's about 2 days of regular usage. Getting 3 days out of this isn't impossible, but you'll need to be a pretty light user. And if you plan on using this intensively for a full workday, it should also be able to last till the end of the day, no problems. The battery is also rated at 800 recharge cycles before it loses significant battery health, which is a nice touch if you plan on keeping this tablet for a long period of time. And charging speed tops up at about 18 watts of fast charging, but you'll need to use a power delivery compatible charger in order to access the full speeds. Unfortunately, I don't have one right now to properly test this out, but an educated guess would be that it would fully charge in just under 3 hours. So here are my impressions about the T21 so far. Just like the T20, this one doesn't exactly set the world on fire. However, when you take the price into consideration, and this one should cost under $250, it does all the basic stuff you'll need from an Android-powered tablet at a decent level. It has great build quality, a nice screen, and good battery life. And then there's the fact that it runs on stock Android and will get 2 major OS updates and 3 years of security updates, which definitely makes this a pretty compelling package for people who want to keep their devices for a longer period of time. The new additional features such as the active stylus support is nice, but it just lacks the polish that would have made it exceptionally useful. Anyway, now it's time to hear from you. What do you guys think about the Nokia T21, its design and new features? And would you pick something like this up, or would you rather choose something else? Share your thoughts with me in the comments down below. For my T20 coverage, check out my video here, or if you're in the market for the best Nokia mid-range device, check out my comparison between the X30 and G60 here. Thank you guys very much for watching. Please don't forget to share, like and subscribe to support the channel, and I shall see you in the next one.